this is Swazwa Swazwa, and today we are talking from Baroda, from Gallery White in Baroda at their wonderful library education center. And I'm sitting with one of my favorite artists actually, Alec Ball.
Hi.
Good morning, Alec. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine.
So I want to start this out just by saying that every morning in Udaipur I wake up and one of the first things I see is this wonderful watercolor that Alec Ball did many years ago. I think I bought it from Anand Art many years ago, and depicts a little concrete house in the desert and there's a dog going inside. And for me, it's so reminiscent of scenes I've seen in Rajasthan 100 times from the train. So I want to start there. I know that's not the beginning of your history, but can you talk about that series of watercolors a little bit to start?
Yeah, so that was a show in, I think, in the year 2007, and they're in Anand Art Gallery, Delhi. So that was a series I was doing at that time was called Black Landscape. So I did some couple of large canvases and watercolors. So that was 2007.
So what was the idea behind that series? What were you talking about? Human habitation, I gather. But
yeah, actually when first time I came here to study in Baroda, no? So in 1994. So I came from a very small township there in Orissa, western part of the Orissa. Then when I came here at that time, it was a kind of cultural shock for me because that was a small township and a lot of greeneries and all. Then I came to here to Gujarat, Baroda. So it's like the landscape was different, quite different for me at that time. So that was actually the whole idea behind that particular show. And at that time, my studio was there in the 10th floor, of one corporate building.
Okay.
So every day in the morning when I come to the studio, I used to see the whole landscape from the top, from a bird eye perspective and all. So it was the actual that idea came from that view of a city,
It was a wonderful series. It was one of my favorite series of yours that first attracted to you. But actually, I think I first became aware of you when you had an exhibition at Palette Art Gallery in New Delhi.
Yeah.
And I think that was maybe 2008, 2009.
9, I think
2009.
Yeah.
I think it was shortly after I had my exhibition there. But you had these wonderful canvases, oil on canvas.
Yeah, not oil, acrylic.
Acrylic on canvas. But they depicted these enclosed spaces that enclosed nature. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that was a series about diorama. So the whole series of painting was about that. So I was working on that particular series because of it was a series about the nature. How we are enclosing nature, enclosing everything, So that was the idea.
Right, everything's getting built around with concrete, and walls are very prominent in your work.
Yeah, exactly.
I always notice that walls are very important in what Alec does. But that was a fabulous show. I remembered you had a leopard in that show too, I think. A large leopard painting. Right?
Yeah.
Which was quite stunning, that particular one. But I think one reason I relate to Alec's work is because when I was young, I grew up in a neighborhood that was on the outskirts of Milwaukee, and I often tell people that I grew up in the country. And if people go to where I grew up these days, they will say, well, this isn't the country, this is the city. But when I was young, it was the country. But because of urban sprawl, I just watched the farms disappear, the horses, the cows, the chickens all disappeared, the wild stretches of woods where the pheasants lived, the fields where the meadowlarks, the wetlands where the red-winged blackbirds lived, all of this disappeared as I was growing up. So I was very aware of it. I mean, it all happened so quickly, So by the time I was going to college, it had pretty much disappeared already. It was only a childhood memory. And that's what I see in your work. Your work is very much about urban sprawl. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, the recent show which is happening at Gallery White, Baroda, it's called Sprawl. So it took some 2 years to build up this body of work related to the sprawl. So that was sprawl because the way here I'm living here in Baroda since last, I think, more than 20 years or something. So I am witnessing every day how city is growing, and the peripheries and everything is growing. So the idea came from there, and also the one incident happened when this near to my place, the place where I'm living, there was a big slum. At that one particular time, they demolished that slum. There are near about 300 or 400 people are living there. So that was a big incident for me. So I was documenting everything from the beginning when this thing is happened.
So it's not just the displacement of nature, but it's the displacement of people.
People
too,
also, yeah, exactly.
In context.
Yeah, exactly. So then I started collecting all the derbies and everything from that particular place. And I was also at the same time documenting everything, taking photographs and videos and talking to the people and all this sort of thing. So this way this sprawl thing happened.
And you started collecting little pieces of crumble from buildings that were being demolished.
Yeah,
Can you talk
exactly.
about that collection? You told me yesterday when I was doing the exhibition that people were wondering why you were making this collection of little crumbled bits of tile and concrete.
Yeah, because my idea was to go more and more closer to the subject. So then when I witnessed everything there, that thing is happening, that they are demolishing everything. So I started collecting those derbies because I want to create something out of it. I want to document. I want to what do you call that? It's a real actual evidence for me. To start my work. So that's why I was collecting.
So you took these little pieces of crumble,
Yeah.
I'm calling it, and you put them in little like white shadow boxes.
Yeah.
And then you added drawn extensions. And how do the drawings relate to the object?
Yeah.
The crumbled object.
Yeah. So when I thought like how to create it, how to show it, the thing, the incident, and the whole thing which is I'm planning to do. So I first put that crumble, and I thought like now if I'll make some drawing, which is back up my mind, and putting them together, my drawing and with this actual crumble. So what kind of statement they are giving together? So that was my idea.
Yeah,
yeah,
I like the
yeah.
pieces where you have like little pieces of broken tile,
Yeah.
and then you have something that implies like a shower curtain or something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
which takes you back to the original use of where that
Yeah,
tile came
yeah,
from.
yeah.
And that at one time it was a home, and now
Yeah.
it's no longer a home.
Yeah.
And now it's probably a commercial building of some
Yeah.
sort or something
Yeah.
like that.
So when something demolished, suppose one house is demolished and people are living since last 35 years, so the whole life they spend in that particular house. Then when it is demolished, so not only the house demolished, lot of things is demolished, so many things which you cannot see, the emotion, the whole life, the entire life of a person. So I was thinking on that way actually,
And
while creating those pieces.
Then you have the piece with the mirrored background and the sunglasses that you collected with the crumble
Yeah.
again. And what were you referring to in that one? If you can
Yeah, so
explain that.
that piece of work actually regarding the same issue. The issue actually what is happening here in Baroda in politically, So how like the political situation now here in this country. So how media is showing us the thing which is we think that it is truth, and we don't investigate again actual truth about it. So those kind of idea was going on in my mind while making that particular piece of the wall.
I also like the one you have with like the we call it in Udaipur, we call it the white metal, sort of the white metal temple structure that's filled with the crumble, very much layered.
Yeah.
And we were talking, there were sort of like two ways to interpret that, multiple ways, but do you want to talk about that one at all?
Yeah, so that particular piece is I was thinking to create some kind of sculptures also for my exhibition. So I got an idea to make that particular piece because we worship, we believe in something. So, but in this urban urban life and all, so with the in between the concrete building and safe area, so we think we are immortal, kind of, because our psychology is like that. But still we are believing something which is, you may call it God or whatever it is. So there is a kind of irony, we one time we believe that we are everything, but at the same time there is a fear of death.
That piece is for me a paradox, because I look at it and I see like almost the worship of development and all that development entails in causing the destruction of the past, but I also see it as sort of a worship of nostalgia too, an appreciation of what has gone, almost a worship of the ancestors type of thing. So I read it in two different ways. But I want to just cut in and just say that one thing that irritates me about the art world right now is there's such an emphasis on the Anthropocene. It's a very fashionable curatorial practice now. Everybody's interested in the Anthropocene, the Anthropocene, the Anthropocene. I think that's a good thing. I mean, it definitely needs to be talked about. But you were doing that over 10 years ago. And at least I might be out of the loop, but it seems like you're not picked up by a lot of these international curators. And it's like, well, Alec Ball's been doing this for years. And I know some curators will approach me and they'll say, oh, Waswell, can you do any miniature work or something that has to do with the Anthropocene? It's like, why are you asking me? Why don't you ask Alec Ball? You understand what I mean? Yeah. So that's something that irritates, excuse me, I have to turn off my phone, irritates me about the situation. But let's move on to the works with the plastic that you did, the Refuge. You have a whole series that are almost abstract, though you said they weren't abstract. You have that series that runs along the walls of acrylic paintings, small canvases, where it's like the refuse or the landfill is just growing and growing. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that particular series of wall, it has a small 10 canvases and one large canvas diptych is there. So yeah, I was working on basically I'm working on landscape since very long time. So that particular series also called Landscape. So because it's everyday thing. Whenever you go outskirt of the city or maybe near to your city, there are you can see a lot of human waste and everything is dumping and it is piling up every day. So it's making a new kind of soil. You cannot find out the actual soil now. So by putting all these dumps and everything, it's a new kind of soil. I call it synthetic soil or something like that, And also it's giving a new, it's a new texture to the urban landscape. It's a new texture. You can say that. So I feel in that way. So I was trying to paint those garbage, those texture actually in that work.
And then you come to that final very large diptych.
Yeah.
And at first it looks like purely abstract, overall kind of painting.
Yeah.
But the more you look at it, you kind of fall into it. And to me, and maybe my imagination, but there's almost a perspective to it in ways. It seems like you're, like a camera is tilted towards the ground, but you kind of see a distance emerging. So you get the feeling like you're really walking over all of this crumble, all of this refuse. I imagine like filthy plastic bags and things like that in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a marvelous work. I mean, the way you've painted that is just incredible.
So when I was working on this particular subject, landscapes and pile of garbage and everything, so I found it very interesting. So I started painting. I keep on doing that work and again. Then I wanted to go more closer to the subject because it's quite abstract for me, you know. Because if you see those things very closely, you'll feel that what is that actually, you know. You know where it comes from. Those are our wastes. But so at the same time, it's quite interesting to paint. As a painter, it's very interesting to paint. I found it very interesting to paint, you know. So then I thought like I'll go more closer to the subject. Then I go more micro to the thing. Then by doing that, this whole big canvas came.
So obviously one of the showstoppers in this particular show are the two moons that are side by side on black canvas on a black wall with this wonderful eerie music with it, which fits. Why the moons? How do the moons fit into the rest of this exhibition?
Okay. Sir, moon. I wanted to paint a moon since very long time, but this time I got a chance to paint it. Actually, that is the my own this thing. So if you say how I relate to this moon, to this particular show, I just wanted to bring the moon inside a gallery space and want people to go and sit and gaze the moon. That's very simple, you know. And it's a very kind of a subject which everybody has the moon inside. We refer moon in a very different way, culturally, socially, you know, in a religious way also. So everybody carry their own moon inside them. So, but here a moon is a kind of a rest actually, you know. So by seeing the whole show of Sprawl, I want people to come and sit in front of the moon and spend some time and look at the moon and you know, just get relaxed or whatever. So that was my idea.
It's very peaceful, but to me, I also see the moon as a wonderful counterpoint, because basically the exhibition is dealing in many ways with the destruction of our environment, the destruction of the planet. And you think of Earth as the green planet, the blue planet, you know, I think we're 3/4 water, you know, and then we have these wonderful green continents with some deserts, whatever. And then you've got the moon, which is basically just a solid rock.
Yeah.
So I do think they've discovered some frozen water in some small patch of it now, but basically the moon is a solid rock. And so to me, it gives this nice counterpoint. It's like, well, we've been sort of blessed with this beautiful natural environment to live in, and yet we keep eating away at it through sprawl. We keep eating away, and pretty soon we're going to end up with a moon. A new moon, you know. Anyway, that might be exaggerating. Is there anything else you wanted to say? We try to keep these to 20 minutes, so I don't want to go too long. Anything you would like to talk about? Where you're going to go from here, or any series I missed?
Yeah, lot of plans are there after this show. I'm planning for my next project with White, with Gallery White, and with some other galleries too, as well. So I already started working on that project also. So let's see. I wanted to make some sculptures also.
Okay.
So those are my ideas.
And you have your studio space back there.
Yeah, I have
too.
my studio space there also.
I might insert some photos I clicked of your studio space into the video when I do it, because I found its studio space to be quite interesting right now in its current state. So, Okay,
Yeah.
well, Alec Ball, it was very nice chatting with you from Gallery White, which is a fabulous gallery here in Baroda. I recommend anybody who comes to Baroda should come and visit this space. And if people are not aware of Alec Ball, you should be aware of Alec Ball because he's really, in my estimation, a fabulous artist. So
Thank you so much.
nice speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
This is Wazwo X Wazwo Evil O speaking to you from Baroda. Please remember, like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that. Like and subscribe to my videos. Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.